of The Peaceful Path. I'm so grateful to have you all here with me. I can see you all in the chat and I can appreciate you. And I am truly just appreciative of you finding the time and the interest to want to be a part of this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This series is set to help us explore more about ourselves, but also more about mindfulness and all about living a peaceful life and just a happy and aligned journey. Hello, Suzanne. Hello, all of you. Kathy, nice to see you. I'll greet you all as a whole for post-production purposes, but a big g'day to you. And I'm excited about this episode because this episode reminds me, or will remind us, of how beneficial the art of meditation can be for our growth as people, for our, evolution internally, and obviously externally as well, and of how much it can assist us in providing value to the world and to those around us. And when we are the best versions of ourselves, we can then help people a lot better. We can then be there for the world. We can then provide more value to society. And most importantly, we can be happy, right? Because ultimately, in many ways, the meaning of life is to be happy. Regardless of what ambitions you have or what path you decide to take, we all are bound by this one common philosophy, and that is the pursuit of happiness. So saying hello and thanks again for being here with me. Good morning. And my name's Alex. For those who are meeting me for the very, very first time, I am a meditation instructor from Melbourne, Australia, always growing, always learning. Just because that I studied meditation doesn't mean that I know everything. I probably know 5% of where I have to be, but life is all about seeking answers and exploring solutions. So this series is part of that. And every week we'll be exploring a new topic, something new that'll help us understand the art of peaceful living a lot better and the art of mindfulness and meditation. No. Sorry, my cat was scratching the carpet. I have to teach him to not do that. Okay, so let me just quickly sip on my matcha as we begin. Lovely. Okay. In this episode, we will discuss a question that is quite fascinating. It is interesting, Can meditation give us superpowers? Well, when we think of superpowers, well, at least when I do, being a comic book fan, when we think of superpowers, naturally we think of Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Catwoman. We think of Batman, Batwoman. We think of all these superheroes who, just have remarkable qualities and abilities and can do things that are beyond what the average human is capable of. But meditation can give you superpowers as well. Obviously, by meditating regularly, we're not going to fly, right? We're not going to see through walls, even though that would be nice, right? That would be nice. But so I don't know. I've always thought of what superpower I would like to have. It's always been flight, because that would enable me to fly to another country. I'd be curious to know what would your superpower be if you could actually choose to have a superpower, if you could choose to only have one. Regardless, meditation does give you certain abilities that can enhance your life and enhance you as a person. So let's go through them one by one, okay? Because in many ways, I think that what meditation can help you acquire are far, in some ways, more important than flying or super strength or see-through vision or invisibility, okay? It gives you the power of autonomy. So there are actually a few superpowers that we can discuss, but the first one I'd like to talk about is, the first superpower is focusing, the ability to focus. Okay, and that is a huge one. That is very, very important, because if you can get easily distracted, you're very easy to manipulate. You're very easy to distract and take you away from your goal. So it's focus is an extremely, extremely important part of meditation. And how do you acquire focus through meditation? Well, meditation trains you to focus, right? And you'll find that as you try to meditate in the most fundamental form, which is focusing on your breath, and you'll find that your mind keeps getting distracted. You're actually training yourself to go back to focusing on your breath. And your goal is to do this for as long as possible. And over time, you build the muscles, you build the ability to focus. In today's world, we're in a disadvantage, at a disadvantage in the sense that we're constantly distracted. We are actually being trained on a daily basis to be distracted, to be less focused. So meditation is like going to the gym, and where we're learning, we're building those focus muscles. And in a way, that gives us an advantage over the average person, because the average person's focus is slowly attenuating over time, whereas our focus as meditators is slowly growing over time. And the human with greater focus will always have an advantage over a person who is not focused. Focus obviously enables you to achieve tasks more effectively, to get through the day more efficiently, to listen more intently, to absorb information more effectively. So focus can bring so much more value to your life, and that's just one of the superpowers that you can acquire from meditation. The second one that I think the second superpower that meditation can bring to your life is the ability to be more reflective. And as David G, who's one of the people I've studied from, and even though I don't have a relationship with him, but I consider him a mentor in that respect. He says it enables you to be more reflective and less reflexive. Okay, see, most people are reflexive. Most people they react, right? They react to whatever comes their way. Someone says something to them and they react. It's like a reflex. Their lives are governed by reflexes. Whereas meditation teaches you to pause. It just teaches you to pause before you respond. And that's very important, because that empowers you to make the right decisions and to not take a step in the wrong path, okay? So being reflective, stopping, pausing, reflecting on what action you're going to take next before you respond has profound power, has immense power to it. Because in that sense, when people decide to, poke the bear or try to ignite a response from you, you can pause, you can reflect. Is it a good idea to say this? Should I be saying that? And then you can respond accordingly in a way that'll best benefit you. So I think that's a very, very, very important one, okay? Because that gives you the power to not let other people's actions affect your life. Only you are in control of your own life, okay? So that to me is very, very important. Imagine having to live a life being beholden by other people's actions. It's a very disempowering life to live, right? Or alternatively, imagine just not being bothered by what other people say about you, by how other people react. That to me is true empowerment. Okay, the next superpower, I'll just sip on my matcha, that you can acquire from regular meditating is the ability to step back. You see, we talked about focus, right? So you can focus on one thing and achieve it one thing at a time. Stepping back is quite the opposite. So in many ways, when we are focused on something, it can be good, right? Having tunnel vision focus. But sometimes the answer can be from having to step back and looking at the big picture. And meditation in many ways trains you to do that. It trains you to just step back, right? It's good to focus on one thing, but it trains you to step back, look at everything, and then you can step back in. It gives you more control. It gives you the steering wheel. It gives you the steering wheel. You know, most people live their lives on a roller coaster. They are basically, wherever the roller coaster decides to go, that's where they go. With meditation, when you meditate regularly and start acquiring the skills of meditation, you now have the steering wheel. So then you can dictate where you want to go, how you want to focus, when is a good time to step out and look at the whole picture. And that is very important. 100%. It teaches you to think before you do or talk, without a doubt. So stepping back is an important quality that you may gain from meditation. It's just so important because every now and then we behave a certain way. We don't realize it, right? We can sometimes speak inappropriately to someone that we love, or maybe not speak up to a boss or to someone of authority or whoever it is. Meditation allows us to just take a step back and reflect on, again, going back to being reflective, but just think of, okay, wait a second. I got caught up in this zone. I spoke inappropriately. This is the big picture, okay? Let's now I know. And then you can step back and you can react accordingly, okay? So yeah, stepping back's a very, very important one. Now the next superpower and incredibly extraordinary ability that you could gain from being a regular meditator is the skill of equanimity. Does anyone here know what the word equanimity means? Equanimity simply means remaining calm and poised despite circumstances being tumultuous or stressful or high pressure, right? So if you're in a very high pressure situation, if a person with equanimity will remain poised and calm throughout this situation. To me, that is an incredible quality to have as a human being, because in life, I mean, that's just life, right? You have to live through circumstances that you'll have to deal with, right? In many ways, equanimity also goes hand to hand with resilience. But when you have a situation that is very high pressure, it requires you to stay calm, because if you are not calm, that may affect those around you and it may affect the results. The quality of equanimity can really bring that, how you handle it. It can really make you handle the situation a lot better. And it's simple. I mean, how does a regular meditator acquire the skill of equanimity? Well, meditation, again, it goes back to being reactive versus, or reflective versus reflexive, or reactive versus proactive. It goes back to just, when you're meditating, you are, again, focusing on one thing, be it either a visualization or your breath or whatever it is that you may be focusing on. And then as you're meditating, thoughts seep in. And in many cases, those thoughts are very unpleasant, right? And meditation trains you to acknowledge that those thoughts are happening, just like if you were living through life and a very difficult task seems to have just hit you out of nowhere and you have to deal with it. And it's very stressful. You learn to acknowledge that is what's happening right now, but then you can just go back to being in the present. You're present and you just focus. And it just teaches you to not get caught up in those moments. There is a lot of power to equanimity, to being a person who is regularly calm under all circumstances. And to me, that is probably one of the, most important qualities of someone who meditates, okay? Remaining poised when dealing with difficult circumstances. Just incredible. So that was my fourth superpower. We've got a few more superpowers, so stay with me. The fifth superpower, and a lot of them overlap. A lot of them are interwoven. But I just think that I suppose I just worded them all differently. But the next superpower is the art of switching, okay? Switching from one mode to another. And that's a superpower that I think is very valuable, especially in today's world. When you're on the internet and you're dealing with some stressful news or with some post that has somehow triggered you, or a person who is just frustrating, or a topic that may be disheartening. Switching allows you to, once you've experienced this emotion, once you've experienced this theme that may be holding you back, switching just allows you to change direction immediately, instantly, okay? Because a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people need some time to get over it. They need to go out, have a cigarette, or, maybe just sip on a tea, go for a run. It takes them a while to get over these kind of things. Meditation, when you meditate regularly, equips you with the tools to recognize that, yes, this current situation sucks. It is shitty, sucks. But then, once you've recognized it, you can just switch to another mode, right? It's like watching TV. You're watching TV, you have a remote. There are, in some countries, 100 channels. Here we have about 10, 15 free-to-air channels. And you're flicking through the TV, switching. But imagine the TV was switching channels for you, right? And you don't really have much, yes, exactly, Suzanne. You don't really have much power over the channels. So switching gives you the power to switch between channels. So if you're watching a channel or dealing with something that is truly affecting you, just like you would with your TV, you wouldn't just mope over it and be like, oh no, what am I going to do? Go for a walk around the block, all while this channel is still playing, and then eventually put down the volume, and then eventually switch to, you just switch channel and you find something more interesting. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or a show that makes you happy or makes you laugh. You just switch to that show and then you just, move on. Nowadays you have Netflix, so it's a lot easier. You don't have to worry about that. But that's my point, okay? Switching is a very, very powerful tool. The next superpower that you can acquire from meditating is mental toughness. Now, mental toughness is very, very important, especially in today's world, which requires, again, a lot of mental toughness. We're dealing with so much. There are wars. The world is more divided than ever has been. We're inundated with social media, and sometimes we just happen to be around people that we don't want to be around. Mental toughness is something you can definitely grow from, and meditation gives you the powers to build on that skill. You can basically focus on something for long periods of time. Again, it goes back to focus, and you can finish the task off, and without letting it affect you, without letting it beat you down. And I think that is, in my opinion, just huge, absolutely huge quality that you can acquire from meditation. Mental toughness. You can persevere through anything and get there. Okay, not much can hold you back or get you down. So bring you down. Okay. Now this one is a good one. The next one is a good superpower that you can gain from meditating. Slowing down time. Oh, you can slow down time. Now, if I was to read a comic book about a superhero who could slow down time, I'd be like, well, actually, there are comic books with superheroes who can slow down time. I'd be fascinated. I'd be like, wow, that is actually a really cool superpower. And with meditation, you can. Not necessarily in the sense that a Marvel or DC comic book writer would portray it, but you can do it. And what I mean by slowing down time, think about it. Firstly, you can spend more time in your day being productive. Why? Well, because you're more focused, you're more calm, you are more productive. But think about that. Anxiety, when you're in a constant state of anxiety, in some cases, in today's world, that's just not even a surprise anymore. When you're in a constant state of anxiety, time actually goes faster. When you're always stressed, when you're always worried, when you're always thinking about things, when you're not present in the moment, time actually flies. So when you can switch into becoming a regular meditator and being more present and appreciating every little thing that is happening in the moment, and by making the most out of every moment in the day, well, time will just go by slower. You'll get to enjoy more of your day. You'll get to appreciate more of your day. You'll notice that week that you used to, I find that as I grow older, a common thing that I keep a common phrase that I keep uttering to my friends and they keep uttering back at me is, whoa, where has this week gone? Time has flown. It's like something that we say quite often these days. Not anymore, by the way, but a lot of people say that to me. Oh, time has flown. And that is because the people are so occupied with things, they don't really stop, pause, and appreciate what it is around them. They don't really stop and just, notice one thing at a time. They don't, they just don't focus on the present. Everyone's so immersed in everything but what is happening in the present. Something as simple as cleaning your house, something as simple as gardening, something as simple as merely going to collect the mail can be something that you can enjoy and something that you can really make the most of. So that to me is a very important one. If you find that time is flying lately, and time actually, if you think about it, has flown. We're already halfway through the year, 6 months away from Christmas. But if you find that is a problem, then meditation can actually equip you with the ability to slow down time. But that obviously takes a lot of practice. You have to meditate 20 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. Yeah, cleaning the house. I know, Suzanne, I know. All right, so slowing down time. The next superpower is something that Marvel comics emphasize quite often. I'm just going to quickly sip on my matcha. The next superpower is accelerated healing. You meditate regularly. You are not only putting your body in a place that is calm, in a place that it is running and operating more effectively. When you're also allowing your body to heal a lot faster. See, meditation does equip your body with a more efficient healing process. It is better for your immune system. How do I justify that scientifically or even logically? Well, think about it. It is common knowledge that when you are in a state of anxiety, when you are stressed, we all know that when you are stressed, your immune system is compromised. It is no secret that in many ailments that we may experience in our lifetimes are a consequence of stress. So, if you meditate regularly and you learn to control that stress, you don't let it get to you, you become more in control of whatever comes your way, then it only makes sense. It's 1 + 1 = 2 kind of thing. It only makes sense that if you do that, you're actually minimizing your risk of acquiring certain ailments. So I'd say meditation does help you heal faster, going by that logic. It does help your body heal better. It does help your immune system work more efficiently. Meditating on a regular basis. And I'd say that is a big one. That is a very underestimated one. And I do on Insight Timer, and I will upload it to YouTube, a meditation that helps you heal better, healing meditation for your immune system. But that is a big one, my friends. That is a big one. Okay, we have 2 more superpowers. Then we can discuss and you can ask your questions. The next superpower is one that has been, proven. We've seen regular meditators, Olympic meditators. I know that is a term, but there are such things as Olympic meditators. God, imagine if there wasn't an Olympics for meditation. No, the next one has been shown to actually be a thing. Resistance to pain. And when you think about it, it actually makes sense, right? When you meditate regularly, you become more resistant to pain. You become less likely to let pain affect you. And how does that, you look at those monks, they can sit on swords, they can walk on coal, burning coal, and there are a lot of things they can do. So, even some of them can just walk in their underpants in the snow. You develop this intense and incredible sense of focus that just blocks out all of the external circumstances that may affect how you feel, and you don't let any of it affect you. So it's incredible. So when you do focus on yourself, when you do focus on your breath, when you do focus on staying calm and present, you will find that pain can actually affect you a lot less. You become less prone to being impacted by whatever pain there is. And it's interesting, the Buddhist take on it is that suffering is actually very good. We need suffering. But the Buddhists, on the other hand, don't believe in the concept of pain. Like, pain is something that we choose. Like we can't let pain get to us. We can choose whether we're going to be in pain or not, right? Pain can be seen as a bad thing, but it can also be seen as like a neutral thing, something that's just part of life. So we just have to accept that it's happening and not let it get to us and just focus. And as you said, mind control, meditation does equip you with the strength to focus on however you react and control your mind. So it's a very, very powerful superpower. Resistance to pain. The last one is one that you will all appreciate. Not quite a superpower, maybe a superpower, it depends on how you want to see it, but it's definitely a quality that you can value and you can grow from in life. The next superpower or benefit is wisdom. Wisdom. Now, what is wisdom, right? And why is it that, let's think of it this way. You're going to have someone who's 50 years old. You can have another person who's 50 years old. Let's take 2 people 50 years old, twins, okay, identical genetics. And they've both been through the exact same circumstances in life. Okay, they've both been through the same amount of experiences. One meditates regularly, the other doesn't. Now, what makes one wiser than the other? And how does meditation impact that? Well, what is wisdom? Let's ask that first. So wisdom is basically having those memories, but without the emotional charge. Think about that. So then you can actually use those memories to teach others and to learn about those memories yourself, as opposed to using them to paint yourself as a sort of victim, or using those memories to just be sad for the rest of your life and let them affect you, okay? So it offers you a path to watching the ebbs and flows of memory, but without the knee-jerk reaction that memory may, the knee-jerk emotional responses that may come with those experiences. So again, we'll go back to those 2 50-year-olds. while they both had the exact same life experiences, same age, identical genetics, but one meditates regularly. So you'll find that the one that meditates regularly can take those experiences, learn from them, not get impacted by those experiences, and draw the lessons from them, but without getting emotional. Because when we get emotional, we don't learn from things as well as we would when we are calm. So you learn from these experiences, and then you can pass those experiences on to the next generation, as opposed to someone who does not meditate, has had the same experiences, gets and understandably emotional from these experiences, but then they only see things from one way. They because they haven't learned, they'll react to it the same way anyone will react to it. And they don't have the tools, because they haven't learned from it, to teach other people about those experiences, because, well, they haven't learned anything themselves. So meditation does, again, it goes back to what I was saying to you before, stepping back, right? It enables you to step back, just assess what just happened, learn from it. You're not attached. Draw whatever conclusions you may have, and then step back in. So you've learned from those mistakes, you've learned from those experiences that may not necessarily be mistakes. They may just be crappy situations you got caught up in. But meditation teaches you, well, that has happened now. Let's regain control. Let's empower our minds to regain control over those situations, and then learn from those situations, and then use those situations to teach others and ourselves. So wisdom. Wisdom is one of the most important things, and one of the meditations that is known for teaching wisdom most effectively is Vipassana meditation. Vipassana is the meditation of Buddha. They call it the Buddha meditation, the Buddha breath. The meditation the Buddha embarked on when he went on his 40-day and 40-night meditation journey under the Bodhi tree. The tree. So so that's very, very interesting. Sorry for those listening, I just sipped on the matcha. So those are basically the superpowers that you can actually acquire. Does meditation give you superpowers? Well, it depends on how you define superpowers. The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, and more. So I hope you gained a little bit from understanding how meditation can actually empower you to grow as a person, can actually equip you with the tools to take your life to another level, to further improve your characteristics, and just bring out the best in yourself. And when you have the best in yourself brought out, you can inspire other people, and you can help the world, and you can be there for those you love, because you become the anchor, you become the person, the rock that people are always there to speak to. So feel free to ask me any questions if you have any. But I personally, speaking from an anecdotal perspective, have noticed those differences, those incredible characteristics that you may acquire from meditation. And it honestly has changed my life, personally speaking. And it can change yours. Now, can one 8-hour meditation session give you all these in one go? No. No amount. You can't get it all in one day, right? You have to do it on a regular basis. You have to integrate it. It has to become a regular practice. It has to become something that you implement regularly, a habit that you acquire. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes part of your life. It becomes part of how you behave. And only then you can see changes. But until then, there's no magic pill. There's no one easy way to acquire those skills. So Suzanne is saying, so interesting, Alex. Lots to learn and implement. Many more meditations are needed, no doubt. You can never meditate enough. I mean, you look at some of the biggest gurus and monks of our world. They have all of the wisdom that you can imagine. They have all of the knowledge. They have the equanimity. like the top of the top equanimity. They can handle situations. They're always calm, always in control. Yet they never stop meditating. Like, even when you feel like you've arrived and you've gotten to this place and that you've achieved or acquired your personal sense of enlightenment, that's not when you stop meditating. You never stop meditating. Something you do for the rest of your life. It's a lifelong process, and it will help you. It will help you grow as a person. It will help you, become the best version of yourself. And that is why I'm so passionately advocating for kids and teenagers to meditate. I think it's the most important thing, because when we can train kids to acquire this sense of focus, being more reflective and less reactive, and being more slowing down and being less anxious. When we can give those kids these qualities, the next generation may be looking more promising. Okay, I feel very bad for kids today. They don't know any better. They don't know any better. They have TikTok, they have all those other things that are constantly just weakening and attenuating their attention spans and their mental strength. And I just think that is not good. It's just not good. So we really have to give kids shields. We have to shield them with the skills and with the superpowers to prevent these external and modern day circumstances from bringing them down and from weakening them as people. Let's see. And Roberta's saying, thanks for the info and the reminders to be consistent. It's my absolute pleasure. Ruth is saying, thanks, Alex. I've never thought of switching in that way, so shall keep an eye out for that. Absolutely, Ruth. And look, it's a very important one, and it's something that is so empowering, We don't get caught up, we just switch from one to another. Carla's saying, they don't know anything but instant gratification. Yes, absolutely. And that is something I'm fervently passionate about bringing into our modern day era kids, is just the skills and the tools to grow as people. They don't really have that these days. They don't. And it's sad, but it is what it is. We can't mope about it. We can't be, we can't complain about it too much, because there's not much we can do about it, right? We just have to, we're not gonna bring TikTok down. There's nothing we can do about it. What we can do is give them the skills to not let it affect them and bring them down. So that's the realistic way to look at it. Thank you, Cheryl. Another great lesson talk. You're welcome, Cheryl. Kathy's got a question. Do you think that a 10-year-old boy is too young for meditation? Kathy, that's a great question. And that brings us to a larger question. Is it ever too young for someone to meditate? My answer to you is no. It is never too young for someone to meditate. I think meditation at the age of 10 is actually an ideal age for someone to start meditating, because that is when a kid starts learning about his or herself. So 10 is a great way. I mean, I wouldn't expect the 10-year-old or the 8-year-old to delve into more complex meditations, but I would start with something that's a little more simple, maybe a little bit shorter than usual. But absolutely, Kathy, it's a great question. Absolutely is my answer. Absolutely. The earlier, the younger, the better, without a doubt. Absolutely welcome, TM. Let's see. But yeah, we need to give them, as Carla mentioned, the coping mechanisms to growing and to dealing with these meditations. Now, Fatima's got a question. When you meditated 8 hours in a row, you said that you had the experience of hearing voices and seeing faces. Could you say meditation expands our non-physical senses, so to speak? Can it be a superpower? Can that be a superpower? Yes, absolutely, Fatima. So one of the superpowers of meditation does enhance is intuition, right? Look, there is so much about the non-physical world that we don't even understand. Like, think about it. We think we know a lot. We think that we have figured the world out as humans. But the truth of the matter is, we don't know jack. We don't know anything. Humans are very naive and ignorant. Think about it. 100 years ago, we thought we figured it all out. 100 years, you know what? 30 years ago, we thought we figured it all out. But now look at us. Look at how much we've changed. We are constantly evolving. We're constantly learning new things. So there is so much about the non-physical world that we do not understand, and we may never understand, but it's there. It's there. So I think the meditation does open you to that, because I think that for us to truly understand the non-physical world, we have to block ourselves from all the distractions that are around us. Think about it. How can you master something? How can you learn something when you are constantly being distracted, right? And you can't. But when you block these distractions, not necessarily block, but when you just don't notice them and focus on what it is internally that you are focusing on, only then you can actually really truly listen to what it is around you, to those non-physical things. So 100%, I believe that not only does meditation bring you closer to your more spiritual self, not only does it allow you to communicate with nature and with the non-physical world, but and if you don't believe in that, I respect that, that's fine, but I do believe there are things that we do not know as humans, and it's important to just have an open mind. But I do think that the voices that I heard, I don't know why I heard them, Fatima. I'm still trying to figure that out, and I'm not going to pretend that I know the answer. It was interesting. It was a form of hallucination, the faces, the voices, but sometimes it is just your subconscious. It could just be my subconscious digging in voices from the past that may just be lurking in there and just letting them resurface, letting me handle them. Maybe it was just cleansing my mind, clearing my mind of things that were just around and they just needed to be removed and cleansed. So who knows? At the end of the day, we just don't know. Suzanne saying, these superpowers will go on my fridge door as a daily reminder. 100% Suzanne, no doubt. And the reason I actually created this episode is to also, it is an excellent source of motivation for all of us to remind ourselves that we are doing the right thing. What we are doing is incredible. Being on a path of meditation, growth, expansion, that sets us apart from a huge chunk of the world. And forget about the world. Like, we don't even have to compare ourselves to other people. That is basically setting us on a path to grow into our best possible versions and become the best versions of ourselves. And really, to me, there is nothing more fulfilling in life. You know, people spend their entire lives trying to be better than other people. They get to their deathbeds and they realize that, damn, there was no fulfillment in that. When you get there, if you know what I mean, when you get there, when you're finally about to get there, none of that matters anymore. Whether you were better than your next door neighbor, more successful than your friend, or more enlightened than your sibling, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how you perceive yourself, how you grew as a person. No one else matters. People come and go. We cannot let our lives be dictated by the people around us. We have to focus on ourselves. So meditation allows you to expand internally and grow externally and internally and be the best version of yourself. And that, to me, that is the most fulfilling thing in the world. The meaning of life is personal fulfillment, happiness, growth. Where does happiness come from? Growth. Where does happiness come from? Fulfillment. Knowing that you are happy, that you are living your true life. Okay? When you're meditating, when you're a proficient, regular meditator who is doing this on a regular basis, you don't need material to make you happy. You could be alone in a cave and you can find happiness and fulfillment. Doesn't matter. And that is true strength. So I'll finish on that note. We just got one more question from Fatima. Could we say you were then in an altered state of consciousness? 100% Fatima, you could say that. You could say that I was in an altered state of consciousness. In fact, I truly believe that I'm pretty sure I was in an altered state of consciousness. And it was profound. It's very hard to explain what was going on. And look, Just because that I experienced it doesn't mean that everyone else is going to experience the same things. I've read about people who've experienced way different things than what I have. So we all experience different things, and I think it all depends on what our mind needs. Again, I don't think meditating 8 hours straight is a good idea because it really can be overwhelming. But I think that even if you meditate an hour straight, you can still experience those benefits, those visions, those altered states of consciousness. You can still experience those whilst meditating for an hour. You don't have to go the whole 8 hours. So yeah, but it's not about how long you meditated. That's another thing I've learned in the 8-hour meditation. It's not about how long you meditate, it's about the quality of meditation. As Jay Shetty, who's one of my favorite mindfulness teachers and speakers, as he says, it's not about how long you meditate, it's about how deep you go. It's about how deep you go. That is the most important thing about meditation. Kathy saying, my life has changed since I started meditating with you. Thanks for saying that, Kathy. What you just said now, Kathy, brings me so much fulfillment. And honestly, I could not ask for a better thing to read. So thank you so much for saying that. Suzanne, why do so many monks meditate for such long periods of time? Interestingly, they do meditate, you're right, for 8 to 10 hours. But they don't do it for 8 to 10 hours straight. They'll meditate for 2 hours. They'll take a break, they'll work. I've got a friend who lived in a monastery for, I think it was like 5 months. And he just said that we meditated for 2 hours and then we would go and do gardening, or because he was a strong guy, they got him to push big rocks, carry the big rocks. He was like, damn it. But so they engage in everyday stuff and they go back meditate, and over a whole day it accumulates to 8 hours. But they do that because they really are trying to understand more about themselves, more about life, and they meditate with a purpose. They meditate with an intention. They meditate because they're trying to seek answers. And I think that everyone and every monk has a different reason for as to why they meditate, and they do it because they're trying to understand themselves. And they're trying to, obviously, based on their scriptures, they're trying to acquire enlightenment, fulfillment, and that's just one of their ways of doing it. And yeah. So we'll finish off with Suzanne's comment. This session was eye-opening. Thanks, Alex. You are changing our lives too. Thank you so much. I love you. I love you guys. You are honestly amazing. So next week, same time-ish, we'll have our next session. I'll be talking about the art of letting go. That'll be next week's topic, the art of letting go. Another interesting one, in the peaceful path. If you really enjoyed this, you can buy me a coffee up there. You can also just subscribe to my channel, or you can just keep meditating and be the best version of yourself, because ultimately that's all I want. I want you to be happy. So thank you so much. I appreciate your company. I appreciate you guys listening and being here with me. This is something that I truly look forward to, having you with me. Love you guys. I'll speak to you, well, for some of you, I'll speak to you in a few days. We're going to go to Lightscape to check out the lights. But otherwise, I'll see you next week. Thank you, guys. Love you so much. Thank you, Fatima. I appreciate you saying that. Speak soon.